top stories. The bees walk out of Parliament again. Church members plan protests against pastors' sacking. And we have action from Monday's community carnivals. Welcome to Nation News for Tuesday, December the 2nd, 2014.
No matter where you are in the world, at home or abroad, Nation News keeps you connected with what's happening in Barbados through our website, video newscast, and online e-papers. So stay connected with Nation News. Your time, your way.
Failure to secure an emergency debate on drug supplies at the QE8 has led to an opposition walkout of the House of Assembly for a second successive meeting. House Speaker Michael Carrington rejected the Barbados Labour Party's request to debate the QE8 as a matter of urgency, whereupon opposition MPs vacated their seats and left the chamber, as they did last Friday. The Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners claims there are critical shortages of basic supplies at the hospital. The hospital says the supplies are in place. Opposition leader Mia Motley told journalists she saw no reason why the matter could not be debated.
And cases that may not initially present themselves as critical or an emergency could become critical and an emergency, particularly among elderly people who, if their mobility is severely affected, may develop pneumonia or some other complication, as has been happening. And we therefore feel that this action has to be taken today on our part to drive home the point that a debate on the potential for conditional release for prisoners, though being important, was being worked on. In fact, the policy paper was finished when I was Minister of Home Affairs, and I ceased being Minister of Home Affairs since 2006. So that a matter that waited 8 years could wait 2 hours, because the debate which we are asking for in the House, by the rules of the House, is no more than an hour, unless the government agrees to extend it. And therefore, you would not so destabilize the government's business. But the House of Parliament, speaking with one voice towards the resolution of these matters, is exactly what the country needs.
Government is planning a code of conduct for staff of Her Majesty's Prison Dodds in light of claims of improper conduct against some prison officers. Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite made the disclosure as he led off debate in the House on an amendment to the Prison Act. Mr. Brathwaite said he had received reports of officers providing security for fetes run by ex-prisoners, and at least one prisoner was reportedly being asked to pay for protection. Mr. Brathwaite said the authorities also have to root out those officers who are using their positions to bring contraband like cell phones and drugs into the prison. Despite these issues, the minister said that the majority of prison officers are good officers. Air Canada is increasing its capacity to Barbados to accommodate an expected increase in visitors from Canada. A Boeing 777, which replaces a much smaller aircraft, made its inaugural flight to Grantley Adams on Monday. Bringing 320 passengers, the airline will be increasing its flights from 3 per week to 1 daily. Members of the Ebenezer Methodist Church in St. Philip are planning to protest the dismissal of American minister Bill St. Clair, who has become known as the Barefoot Preacher. Reverend St. Clair ran into problems with the church leaders because of his unconventional style. Most of the congregation at Ebenezer, where he served most of his time in Barbados, have been staying away from church, and a spokesperson told Nation News they are planning a demonstration. The worshippers want an audience with the superintendent of the local Methodist church. The Independence holiday was also St. Philip Carnival Day, as hundreds danced in the streets on a day which also saw the first Orange Hill Street Parade in St. James. So it was a contrast from the military-like precision of the Independence Day Parade and the abandon that goes with carnival time. Organizers of both events told Nation News they were pleased with the response. Next up is Geraldine Edward with the weekly commentary.
Every time we expect a large number of cruise ship passengers in Barbados, taxi drivers and merchants are hopeful. But each time the story is the same. No trips for the taxi drivers and very few sales in Bridgetown. What are you doing to lure those people who are walking past? You can't only shout, "Taxi, taxi," or throw open your doors. First it starts on the cruise ships. How much promotion is being done there? We have to sell Barbados to the staff so they can sell it to the passengers. We can't keep doing things the same way and expect a different result. It's time for a change in strategy.
In sport, road tennis is enjoying a revival in the primary schools as it is at the national level. On Monday, Hildesteen will play George Lamming in the team final. Both schools had 3-0 victories over Milton Lynch and Blackman and Gollop respectively. In the singles, Ajani Roach of George Lamming will be up against Shakar Shepherd of Milton Lynch. The tournament is sponsored by Berger Paints. And finally, in case you missed it, researchers at the Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine in North Carolina announced they are making substantial progress toward the objective of growing human penises in a laboratory, prompting men around the world to shout, "Woohoo!" The goal is to conduct a clinical trial within the next 4 to 5 years. 6 years ago, the researchers famously bioengineered an organ for rabbits. Then the scientists watched anxiously to see if the 2 rabbits would have sex. The suspense was short-lived. Within a minute of being put together, the male with the implant mounted the female and successfully mated. That's Nation News for Tuesday. For more, log on to nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. And pick up your Midweek Nation on Wednesday.